we'll start with the star man, the late arrival. And thank goodness he hasn't been late at too many events this year. He might be Irish, but we think of him as a Celt, and he's amongst friends tonight. And he was a friend of a very good friend of ours here in Coltness Car Club. And he's just won the International Rally Challenge. And what does he do? I'm coming to Scotland for the McRae Rally. Ladies and gentlemen, the new International Rally Challenge champion, Chris Meek. He provides an interesting insight into the sport, and he's taking part in the rally tomorrow as well. He used to be in the ITV a lot. I don't know if you used to watch F1. What does F1 stand for? That's motor racing. I don't know much about that. But he's a rally fan at heart. And he's full of tall tales and big fibs. Tony Jardine. Take a few. Stage is getting busy already, isn't it? And we've got a star all the way from, you know, when I say he's an island out in the far west, it's quite a big island. It's bigger than Arran, it's bigger than Mull, but it's still an island. It's not actually enjoying to the Antarctic. We colonised it a few years ago, but they've taken off. And there's a star over there in America. He's done everything on bikes, snowboards, you name it. But he's become known to a new generation through this YouTube business. And then we saw a wee bit tonight. We saw it on the big screen out there. Star of Top Gear. He is a serious sportsman. He is a serious athlete. He told me that himself. He's a US American Rally champion. He's jumped higher, further, faster than anyone else on four wheels. And he did a wee bit of a show out there earlier on tonight. Tires smoking, you know, nearly as much as my cigar. He's a star. He's a wonderful chap. He was here last year. He's back again this year. Ken Block. Join us, Ken. You can take your hat off now. The sun's gone, Ken. He's hiding from the shade. And if Ken's a star in America, there's a man here tonight that's a star in the UK. 5 times British Rally champion. And one of the best all-round drivers I have ever seen. It's a pity he started late, otherwise we might have had more world champions in Scotland. But he's taking part in the event tomorrow in a rather evocative car, and we'll find out about that later on. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim McRae. We'll start with you, Jim. You're out tomorrow in a Ford Sierra Cosworth.
Yep.
It's a special car, Jim. When did you last drive that?
Well, I probably last drove it 20 years ago. 21 years ago, it won the Scottish Rally for me. And prior to that, I was 6 times second in the Scottish, and I never won it. So it's a bit special, that car. It was then sold. It was I then bought it from Ford, and we used it in McRae Motorsport. And up-and-coming drivers like Colin McRae and Alistair McRae's driven it. Then it was sold to Ireland. And I'm afraid, you know, typical Ireland, it came back in a bit of a sad state. So it's taken, we just decided about 4 or 5 months ago there that we'd totally rebuild it. So Big Barry Lochhead and Jock from, been doing a fantastic paint job and work on it, and the car's ready. Unfortunately, we didn't get time to try it. I round about the lanes in Lanark tonight for about half an hour and frightened myself in the wet roads, so I don't know what it's going to be like in the forest. But it's here anyway, and we're going to have.
And that's it in the corner.
Yep.
Yeah. And what do you think of this young man's achievement this year?
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I think I sent him a text when he'd won it, and I said, never ever doubted his speed. But now he's got a brain to go with it.
Well, he must just have had a transplant, because there wasn't one in there before he went.
No, I mean, I don't know how many years ago was I sat beside you in that test?
That was 2001, I believe.
2001. We were doing a test with some of the young Scottish Championship guys, and Chris's dad suddenly said, "Could Chris come along?" And he came along, and they were doing a bit of running round about in the car, and Chris went in the car and did a run, and I sat beside him, and I came out of the car, and I thought that's as near Colin McRae as I've sat beside. And I said, Colin arrived by that time. I said, you better go and sit beside him. And he came back out, and he was quite impressed. So he's always been there. He's definitely had the speed. He's just got it all together now. A bit older, a bit more experienced, and I think he's doing a fantastic job this year.
He has. And congratulations from everyone in this room, Chris. That is a tremendous achievement, because you fought for every inch of the way. And just as you saying you thought he was something special, I saw him in the Galloway Hills Rally, the first time he ever appeared in a Subaru Impreza, and he won. And you know what the Galloway Hills is like, ice, snow. You've done well, Chris. What's next?
I don't know. I still haven't, to be honest, I haven't taken in what's happened. I haven't been home since San Remo last week. I had a Citroen test during the week, and I came direct from there to here. So it's been all a bit of a blur, to be honest. But to be fair, this year has just been a fantastic opportunity for me. I tried for so many years. You know, and as Jim said, I probably, when I should have been bringing home silverware at a young age, I was bringing home a load of bent metal. And to be honest, when I look back on it now, it's difficult to have any regrets. But I think when you're young, it's very difficult to find your level. All you want to do is go out and impress and drive faster and faster and faster, and you sort of go like this. You wreck cars, and maybe an odd time you get a good result when everything comes together. But I think with a bit of maturity and everything, you just get to a stage where you accept your abilities and you don't try to push beyond them, and you accept whether your ability is good enough. And some weekends your ability is good enough, and some weekends it's not. And it's getting that bit into your head that you don't have to win every rally to win a championship. And I really talked to myself a lot this year going to rallies and tried to talk myself out of victory more times than enough, because going to a lot of these European events which have been on the European Championship calendar for years, and we went to Madeira this year, and Jan Domenico Basso had been there 8 years in a row. He's won it 4 times. I was really up against it, and the best I could do was 5th place, and I came home and everybody was saying what happened there. But to be honest, that was probably my hardest weekend of the year, and the one I probably look back on as one of my best achievements is getting a 5th place and 4 points. And without those 4 points, we'd still be going to IRC Rally Scotland fighting for the championship, and now we've wrapped up. So I say it's accepting that the results you get on a bad weekend or a difficult weekend count towards the championship. But I think this year has been a combination of everything. Getting the opportunity with Peugeot UK in a Super 2000 car, which for me has totally lent itself to my experience over the years.
What's the Peugeot 207 like to drive? I mean, you've driven World Rally cars, you've driven Subaru Imprezas, but the 207 is 4-wheel drive, but it's not quite as sophisticated as a World Rally car. Big difference?
No, I say, just as I was saying, it's totally lent itself to my experience over the years with Super 1600, normally aspirated driving. For me, there's a different driving technique and a different approach to driving a car without a turbo to a car with a turbo. And with a turbo, there's so much power and torque there to pull you out of trouble. And if you miss a gear, you maybe lose a couple of tenths of a second. Whereas in the Super 2000 car or a Super 1600 car, you have to fine-hone your abilities, and you cannot make a mistake, or you cannot lose momentum, or you're losing 3 and 4 seconds.